Hey guys, welcome to the last class. Sad face, but smiley face. We still have one more critique, so almost the last class. Give us a shout out in chats. We know you can hear us. We can get started. Oh yeah, Laura's super sad. Adam, hey. Matthew, hey. Julius, hi. Everybody's here. All right, let's do it.
Cool. Yeah, as Lewis has mentioned, this is the last class, guys. So this week we're meant to be doing rendering and presentation, but yeah, the creature isn't quite finished yet. We still have a little bit more texturing to do, which we'll probably do today. We'll touch on some of the other maps, like the spec map that we talked about the glossiness map last week, and we'll continue on from there this week and move on to the spec maps and the emissives, and then probably jump back to further refinement on the diffuse. So I did a couple hours texturing last night on this guy. It still needs quite a bit more, but it's getting closer. And yeah, just as I mentioned before, anything we don't get, anything that doesn't get touched on in this final lesson, I will definitely be recording and be uploading it as a supplemental after everything's all finished. And it's probably in those supplementals that I will actually start to touch on what we're meant to be covering this week in rendering and presentation. But you can look forward to that as a little bonus after the classes are all done. That's pretty much all I've got to say on that, and we can just jump back into finishing up this guy. Okay, so I'm going to probably spend some time in Photoshop now as we start to piece together some of these additional maps. First of all, in Marmoset, I think last week I was showing you this guy just using a normal default shader in Marmoset. If you click this icon up here, it shows a whole bunch of different inbuilt shaders that come with Marmoset. And what we're actually going to be using for this guy is the Dota 2 template. What this does is it mimics the shader setup for the Dota 2 workshop, but a nice factor about this shader is it sort of tries to mimic a sort of previous gen type shader environment within Marmoset 2. Like it's not quite as PBR based as the default. So this is kind of a good shader to use if you don't really want to be messing around with the whole physically based terminology and all that, which is another reason. So it's not necessarily specifically used for Dota 2 stuff. You can just use it to get a sort of previous gen result. So all I've done here is create that template. It pops up here, and I've thrown in the normal map that we're using and the color map. And if I jump over here, this little illustration here shows what this shader pretty much requires to function. It needs a color map, which we have, a normal map, which we have, and then it relies on two sort of mask maps. And this is quite common in sort of game development, where you'll have additional maps that are broken up per channel to do varying, they provide like additional functionality to the shader and control to the shader on a per channel basis. So it's normally sort of grayscale maps, shifting parameters in the shader. So a lot of this stuff we don't really need to worry about for our needs. So we're not going to worry about a detail map. That's just like a tiling detail map that is more specific to the whole Dota creations side of things. We're not going to worry about a diffuse Fresnel mask. We will be looking at a metalist map and self-illumination. The metalist map is going to give us a really nice metallic look to our gold, which is all over the character, and self-illumination we'll probably use just on the eyes to make it glow a bit. For mask 2, we have specular intensity, which is our spec map. Rimline intensity, this is probably not super necessary. Again, it's quite relevant for the whole data creation, but for us, we could leave this out and just control this with a shader, slider, sorry. Tint spec by base color, we're probably going to use this as well in conjunction with metal regions, so we can get some sort of colored spec happening in a few areas. And specular opponent is the glossiness map that we created last week. So these are the additional maps that we're going to be creating today, hopefully, to help supplement these guys that we've already done. And yeah, they all have their own little channels in Marmoset that you can just click to load. We have a mask 1 and a mask 2. And then we have control here where we can actually turn on or off the individual channels here as we sort of need them. So we need the metalness, the illumination, and probably turn off rim light for now. We can control it here with a slider, so we don't really need to create that for our sort of purposes here. But everything else we need. Okay.